Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sermon Time with me, your host, Pastor Tony. Now, this month I've been plowing through a New Year's theme series of sermons called What's New? And we have today focused on the new you. So when anyone asks you what's new, you can now tell them me and proceed to tell them what Jesus has done for you. Today we will take a small step away from the new you and towards the subject of the new earth. In brief, the new earth is the place the Lord is preparing for everyone who receives a new heart from God. Everyone who lets God transform them into the person He wants to make of them will be allowed to live in the earth made new. Now, to set the stage for this topic today, I would like to contrast Jesus' plan for a new earth with the plans people are making for a new world order. Now, I don't know if you have ever received any information on the New World Order, or the NWO, but much has been said and written on the topic since the concept was conceived in Europe in 1815, following the efforts of Napoleon to forcibly unite Europe around him. The NWO of that day was formed to prevent another Napoleon-like takeover. Over the decades since, from politicians to theologians to conspiracy theorists, the notion has captured the attentions of millions of people. On September 11, 1990, then President George H.W. Bush spoke to a joint session of Congress of the New World Order, highlighting several of its tenets, and this is what he had to say. A new world order, a new era, freer from the threat of terror, stronger in the pursuit of justice, and more secure in the quest for peace. An era in which the nations of the world, east and west, north and south, can prosper and live in harmony. A world where the rule of law supplants or replaces the rule of the jungle. A world where the nations recognize the shared responsibility for freedom and justice. A world where the strong respect the rights of the weak. And he went on in his speech to talk about this new world order that America would like to see unleashed upon the planet. This statement captures well what proponents of this type of new world order are attempting to accomplish. They seek individual prosperity, global peace, educational equality, economic stability, political tranquility, the structure of law over the chaos of tyranny, It sounds nice, desirable, a noble ambition. I mean, who doesn't want international peace and prosperity for everyone, right? But you see, the problem for the Christian is you have the words of Jesus describing the state of affairs just before he returns to this planet, a time I believe refers to our generation today, and the scenes depicted do not speak of peace and prosperity, but of collapse of world order. There are several passages in Matthew chapter 24, and we're going to read verses 4 to 12 and see just how topsy-turvy the world order is going to become before Jesus returns. And this is in the context of a question the disciples asked Jesus, "When will you return?" And Jesus answered and said to them, "Take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows," or birth pangs. "Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many, and because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold." If you drop down to verses 37 to 39, we read further, "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be." So what happened to the world in Noah's day? It was destroyed. So as we catch Jesus' vision for the end time, we see a collapse to order in the religious world, a collapse in order in international affairs, a collapse in the natural world, a collapse in the social world, a collapse of family life, a collapse in law and order, and in the end, the destruction of the world. This is Jesus' take on what to expect at the end of time. Paul tells us men will call for peace and safety, but sudden destruction comes swiftly. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3, "For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them." And Peter reveals the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up when Jesus returns. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens will pass away with a great noise, and the elements will melt with fervent heat. Both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. So reading these Bible passages together, is the earth going to get better or worse before Jesus returns? Worse. Worse and worse. But then Peter hastens to add in verse 13 that a new earth will take the place of the old one, in which righteousness dwells. And then he concludes this in verse 11. "Therefore, since all these things will be dissolved, what manner of persons ought you to be in holy conduct and godliness?" Peter would have us to believe that everything in this current world order and any new world order man creates in our future is going to come to an end. So, live in such a way that you are preparing for the next world order, Jesus' world order, where righteousness dwells. Now, I don't share this to frighten you or to freak you out or make you go crazy with fear. I share this with you to keep you informed. Knowing what's coming, you can be better prepared for what's ahead. If you open your life to the inevitability of Jesus coming back to this earth and establishing a new world order in the future, when he comes again, then you can be better prepared to meet him in peace, where he will receive you to himself, so that where he is, there you may be also. If you are the kind of person who chooses to close their heart to Jesus, you might find yourself preparing in a totally different way, trying to create a new world order that can withstand the cataclysmic, earth-destroying coming of Jesus. Good luck with that. I don't think you'll succeed. And this is where it gets interesting. Jesus tells us what God's people are doing about the soon coming of Jesus, or maybe more accurately, what they aren't doing. In Matthew 24:14, they are preaching the gospel. It says, "And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come." In Matthew 25:35, God's people are feeding the hungry, relieving the thirsty, taking in displaced foreigners into their homes, clothing the naked, and visiting the sick and imprisoned. The earth and all the orders created in it are collapsing, and God's people are not trying to save the planet. They're making no efforts to save the ecology or protect the environment or to save the whales or any such nonsense. And I don't mean to sound like I'm an unfeeling person. There's nothing wrong with these efforts in and of themselves. It's just that the Bible says God's people are focusing their attentions elsewhere, on people, and making sure their future in Jesus' new world order is secure. They have given up on this planet, and they are prepared for what's to come next. The book of Revelation reveals our water sources are going to become undrinkable. The land is going to become parched, causing famines and devastation. And the sky will be altered, causing even more ecological disasters. But in Revelation, God's people are seen to be doing things. They are preaching the everlasting gospel to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. They're not working to save the environment. They're working to save souls. Having said this, neither are God's people destroying the environment. While the Bible predicts these inevitable disasters and God's people focusing their attention on people, a severe warning is issued that God will destroy those who destroy the earth. What I take from this is that destroying the earth's ecosystems is morally reprehensible, but this does not automatically lead God's people to take efforts to save it. That would be a distraction away from their real work. Saving the planet in a Christian context focuses not on preventing the destruction of the planet, but focuses on the source of the destruction, the human heart. And now we are back to our earlier themes in this sermon series of the need for each person to receive a new heart. And this is why, in the midst of an imploding planet, God's people are seen preaching the gospel and ministering to the needs of people living on that imploding planet. Suffering is coming, but God's people are alleviating the suffering not through prevention so much, but through intervention. So let's take a closer look at the new world order, shall we, that Jesus is planning, in order to see why it is we will need a new heart in order to participate in it. And this brings me to my favorite verse in all the Bible. We're in Revelation 21, where we learn how John saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and first earth had passed away. Also, there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. And they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away." Then he who sat on the throne said, "Behold, I make all things new." A new world without a sea, Well, that's going to prevent the massive weather patterns, the huge storms and hurricanes and tornadoes we see, and extremely hot and cold places on the earth that we see in our world today. It says there will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain. All of that's gone. And in verse 5, we hear God's personal promise, I will make all things new. You might conclude that anybody can live there, but that would not be accurate. While everyone is invited to be there, verse 27 tells us, but there shall by no means enter it anything that defiles, or causes an abomination, or a lie, but only those who are written in the Lamb's book of life. In chapter 22, verse 15, it states further that any who are sorcerers or sexually immoral or murderers or idolaters or who love and practice lies, they will never enter that place. These types of individuals would upset the new world order Jesus is setting up. Isaiah 2 weighs in on what life will be like in the new earth. In Isaiah 65, for behold, God says, I create a new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem as a rejoicing, and her people a joy. I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people. The voice of weeping shall no longer be heard in her, nor the voice of crying. No more shall an infant from there live but a few days, nor an old man who has not fulfilled his days. For there, if a child died at 100 years old, or a sinner lived to be 100 years old, it would be considered a curse. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of the tree, so also shall be the days of my people, and my elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth children for trouble, for they shall be the descendants of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and dust shall be the serpent's food. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, says the Lord. So people in that place will not plunder the farms or homes of other people. They will not steal things that don't belong to them. Foreign armies will not take away people's freedoms or possessions. No one will harm or destroy anything in that land. Kids listen to their parents, and parents love on their kids. People there will be happy and joyful, productive and hardworking. They will live forever, them and their animals. It's life as it was meant to be. So only certain people will be allowed to live there. Holy people, good people, righteous people, honest people, godly people. You know, the Pathfinders take a pledge and have a law that they recite at every meeting. The Pathfinder pledge is, by the grace of God, I will be pure and kind and true. I will keep the Pathfinder law. I will be a servant of God and a friend to man. And the Pathfinder law is for me to keep the morning watch, do my honest part, care for my body, keep a level eye, be courteous and obedient, walk softly in the sanctuary, keep a song in my heart, go on God's errands. Do you know what I hear when Pathfinders recite the pledge and law? I hear that they are preparing themselves to live in Jesus' new earth. Can you imagine it? Life on the new earth is going to be great. You do not want to miss out on it. And the way we guarantee we won't miss out on it is if we choose today whose side we're going to be on, whose laws we will obey, and who we are going to strive to be like. This old earth is vanishing away, and while we have the chance, we need to make our choice. God is inviting you into his plan for you. So whatever you do, Don't miss out because you were unwilling to change. Get that new heart so that you can enter that new place. I wish you all well. Have a great God-filled week, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.